and welcome to Classics Confidential on location on the beautiful island of Cyprus. I'm Anastasia Bakogianni and I'm talking to Professor Roderick Beaton, based at King's College, London. Welcome, Professor. Lovely to have you on Classics Confidential. And we're here to talk about modern Greek receptions of ancient Greek myth. What is special about how modern Greek poets approach the classical past, and how does it differ from other types of appropriations?
Well, I mean, classical appropriation goes right through the modern world, and a lot of classical reception work has explored the ways in which what we call modernity, the world we know, we live in, not so much is shaped by the ancient past, but is shaped by an engagement with the ancient past. So it's we moderns who cannot let go of the ancient past, and it's affected us in lots and lots of ways. Now, in sort of English, French, American, even worldwide culture, this is very well established. One area that's been surprisingly little explored, it seems to me, in terms of classical reception, is what happens when the ancient classics impact upon people today whose mother tongue is Greek, who think of themselves as Greek, sort of unproblematically. That's sort of who they are, it's what they are. And there's this long, this vast civilization of huge importance, worldwide importance long ago, that they feel organically connected to. But so does the rest of the world. So, where does the modern Greek feel he or she sort of fits into that picture? And as someone who's been working really all my professional life on modern Greece and Byzantine world, but basically the Greek language and Greek culture, Greek history, and literature after antiquity, and particularly in my recent work, the 19th and 20th century, I've been focusing more and more on this issue of what happens when Greeks themselves engage in what we call classical reception. So it's a kind of it's an active engagement. We're not talking about, as I say, it's not just what used to be called the burden of the past, it's on our shoulders, and gosh, we've got that terrible weight. It's actually not that. It's I think this applies to Greeks as well as for everybody else engaged in classical reception, whether they know it or not. You need the past. You need to draw from it, and you do. It's a sort of bulwark. But what aspects of that past matter to you? How do you select what's relevant? How do you make it live again? And if you've got, in the case of Greece, you've got a whole people who speak Greek and who fought for their national independence 200 years ago, very much on the banner of being the natural inheritors of the language and the culture, and therefore the prestige of ancient Greek civilization. It's a terrific challenge to live up to. And how does the modern Greek do that? And that fascinates me.
Yes, indeed. In your paper, you focused in particular on the modern Greek poet George Seferis, who is perhaps less well known outside of Greece, even though he won the
Nobel Prize. Of course, yes.
So other people have acknowledged that he's a great poet. What do you think is particularly interesting about his reception of classical myth, and how he approached it at the beginning of the 20th century, of course, the time when modernism was at its height?
Absolutely. Well, it was really in the 1930s that Seferis made his great sort of poetic breakthrough as a Greek poet. And ironically enough, he acknowledged this himself, his breakthrough moment actually happened not in Greece, but in London, when he found a book of poems by T.S. Eliot in a bookshop. And suddenly reading Eliot, he cottoned onto a whole new way in which, as a Greek poet, he could reactivate the power that myth once had in the ancient world, reactivate that in the modern world. Now, Seferis translated Eliot, he finally met Eliot, he admired him obviously very much, he wrote essays about him, and he also wrote free-verse modernism. He really introduced literary modernism to Greece. So Seferis was often accused, I think very unfairly, in Greece of having simply imitated Eliot, that he followed in the footsteps of Eliot. But I've looked at this very closely over many years, and I really do believe that what happened is almost the opposite. That Eliot was a kind of catalyst that showed him how a modern and modernist poet could engage with myth, and that myth becomes a kind of key that unlocks a way of understanding the modern world, modern history, and how we connect with the past. But Seferis' way of doing that was quite different from Eliot's. Because what Eliot did famously in The Wasteland was he took characters and situations and allusions from a whole series of worldwide myths, and he juxtaposed them with the sort of awful conditions of rather a humdrum, drab, tawdry everyday life of London in the early 20th century. So you've got sort of the world of myth sort of up there, and the world of us today down here, and isn't it awful? So it's a kind of it's a shocking contrast between the great myths of the past and what's become of us now. Seferis doesn't do that. Seferis, in his poems, mostly, he doesn't particularly separate out the ancient from the modern world. He focuses on the Greek landscape, which of course is a bridge between ancient and modern. And in the context of the Greek language, Greek language and the Greek landscape, he tries to reach back into the past to find what he calls, in the poem I was talking about today, the first seed, so that the age-old drama can begin again. And that's Seferis. It's a beautiful line, but it's a very important line because he's not simply trying to revive the glories of classical drama. He sees behind that phase of civilization, behind those glories that we all admire, he sees behind that a kind of organic process of tragic drama growing out of a seed. And that seed, Seferis' poems allow us to understand, is mythology. So it's the sort of primal, originary power of myth that's in all of us already, it's innate. And how do we unlock that in the modern world? How do we enable that myth-making power to make new myths, which won't be anything like classical tragedy? Who knows what they'll be like? But it's something that we will create, we ourselves, we in inverted commas, I mean the modern Greeks, the Greeks who see themselves in conjunction with their very own modern language, their very own landscape that was also the landscape of the ancients. And how can they reach back through that landscape to the sort of mainspring, to the sort of living force that will set in, a creative force that will create a modernity, a modern world, modern literature. That's what Seferis set out to do in the 1930s, and the rest of his career. It's what won him the Nobel Prize in 1963. And that quest, I think, that Seferis set in motion in the 1930s has proved enormously influential in Greece, and indeed here in Cyprus, where we are now.
Yes, I mean, the generation of the 1930s is seen as a seminal point in time in modern Greek letters.
Absolutely, it is, but a lot of the seeds that were sown then are clearly, they're really blossoming today. And also this afternoon, we heard a marvelous paper on the work of the modern Cypriot poet Kyriakos Charalambidis, who was here with us at the conference, and said some very, I thought, moving and illuminating things about his own poems. But here is a poet. Born, I think, in the 1940s, wasn't he? He lived through decolonisation in Cyprus, the independence struggle in this country in Cyprus, and the tragedy of the Turkish invasion of 1974. He's commented on all of these sort of national traumas in a series of poems since the 1970s. And I think it's wonderful the way he draws on ancient myth, on ancient tragedy, but also on some of the most important modern Greek poets, Seferis that I was talking about, and Cavafy, who's of course famous for Ithaca and so much else.
Yes, indeed. So some wonderful conversations took place today, and may they bear some seeds for the future, and hopefully bring more light and more attention on modern Greek perceptions of the classical past. Thank you very much.
Well, let's hope so, indeed. Thank you.
Thank you.